After I graduate, I would like to become a math teacher. I want to teach in the elementary schools and teach basic math. I want to show why math is important. I know most math teachers get the question, when are we ever going to use this? The main points that I want to touch on is the most widely used subject in the world. All careers need some sort of math. You'll need it to get into college, taking the standardized tests, and you use math in everyday scenarios. Elementary math is really important. The first steps in elementary schools is to memorize the numbers 1 to 10. If you think about it, it is the main base of math education. Studies have shown that a person who is confused by basic mathematics usually finds it impossible to remember anything about mathematics later on. The largest excuse for not turning in homework is because of confusion and not asking for help, along with I accidentally divided by 0 and my paper burst into flames. According to Design Science, federal and state policymakers agree that attainment of good math skills should be one of the major goals of the American educational system. Also, American schools children, on average, continue to fall behind in math when compared to other countries. You can use math in all-day, everyday situations. Again, Design Science says that knowing more math, students will have the competitive edge that they will need to compete for jobs. You never know when they will be needed. Someone who can usually take complex situations and simplify them in a level that anyone can understand and be able to recognize patterns will usually be a more successful business person and get the higher paying jobs. When we learn how to do the basic math calculations, we build knowledge and growth in our skills. If you think about it, everyone handles money every day. Without learning the basics of math, a person will not know how to properly use money, including spending, saving, or receiving it. Again, in careers, no matter where you want to end up, many entry-level jobs require employees to have some sort of math knowledge. The skills that employers are looking for are the ability to identify and analyze patterns, logic and critical thinking skills, and the ability to see relationships and problem-solving skills. When you ask a student what they want to do when they grow up, most don't know yet, so it is important for them to know all the math so that when they do decide, they won't be limited to a career because they don't have the skills needed. According to national assessment data, students with disabilities in particular rank well below the average American school student in math achievement. One of these reasons is because of lack of math instructional content and assessment for these types of students. Making accessible math instruction by using universally designed math technology will help all students in the long run. Diversity is important in the classroom as well. The Mathematics Education Center for Learning and Teaching was funded by the National Science Foundation. They built an integrated program to develop and enhance the instructional workforce from kindergarten through graduate school. The program consists of 3 components: doctoral and postdoctoral, teacher education and instructional leaders, and a comprehensive research agenda. The amount of money that comes with mathematical jobs are very high. A mathematician is around $50,000, math technician around $60,000, computer and mathematical occupations over $45,000, and last but not least, mathematical scientists are above $74,000. Think you want to go study some math yet? It also helps generations bond. For example, a 22-year-old bunch of students will talk about world events such as latest fashions, music, and school-related things, but a 70-year-old person may have different things to offer the conversation. But they both know the same math because it's universally the same. Not in the school sense, but in the presidential election, world events, the stock market, and so on. 1 through 10, the most basic numbers on the number line. Why do we need to learn these first? If you think about it, they are involved in the most math problems. Where else do you see them throughout the day? They're in clocks, graphs, they're used in months, the days of the week, music, book pages, in the kitchen, telephone numbers, and I can go on for a while. Now I'll be teaching elementary math most likely, and I feel like one of the most important things you can do as a student is either memorize or know the multiplication table very well. It is hard to compute 2-digit multiplication unless you can understand single-digit multiplication. The ability to form multiplication is also the building blocks for learning division. A child without good multiplication skills will continue to be lost in the future years. Games are a big way to teach and incorporate math into students' lives. It also uses math facts repeatedly and is fun to do with students. Class games like Monopoly have provided many hours upon hours of addition math fact practice. Not only is it good practice to play games, but if you do have the math knowledge, you will have an advantage to win. Again, I would like to reiterate the fact that when we learn how to do the most basic math calculations when we are in elementary school, we build on the knowledge and grow in our skills. Now that the basic knowledge is very important to get into colleges, to get these great degrees, there have been studies on students who take geometry in high school have about an 80% chance of attending colleges regardless of race, religion, and family income. Now before you get into these colleges, everybody has to take either their SATs or ACTs or both. To pass these tests, you have to pass the math section and have basic math skills. Hopefully I've convinced you all that math is important and it isn't just stuff that you will need to know outside of the classroom. Here are all my sources for the pictures and where I found the information.